Oh, there you are, YouTube. Tim Talks Talkies has put out a call to us all to list our top 25 favorite 1980s movies. So I'm here to do just that, but behind me, as you can see, my movie collection is in complete disarray. It is not organized. So I won't be pulling titles. Instead, I'm just going to try and edit in some posters here and there where I can. But I have my list written down here, and I'm going to start reading it right now. Number 25. I'm gonna be your man in motion. All I need is a pair of wheels. Something all around future lion. St. Elmo's Fire. The original Brat Pack. A lot of people want to attach Brat Pack to The Breakfast Club, which may be coming later, but St. Elmo's Fire, that is where that term was coined in an article about that movie being made. So St. Elmo's Fire, number 25. You'll see the original Brat Pack members. Molly Ringwald, not in the movie, not an original Brat Pack member. Okay, and that movie comes from 1985. Next, number 24 is Predator. I can't do it. I was trying to make the Predator sound, but that comes from 1987. That's just like a great movie. It's like action. It's like horror. It's really good. It's super macho. You know, it's just. It's great. I love it. 23, Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Very fun movie and a technical achievement. Also, Walt Disney World Hollywood Studios. You need to build a Roger Rabbit ride. It belongs there at Universal Studios. See if you can do it. Number 22 comes Conan the Barbarian. Look at that. We already have another Schwarzenegger here. I remember watching this one as a kid and just thinking it was great, and I still think it's great. I really love the tone of it. James Earl Jones, when he's turning into that snake, I loved it. There were other scenes as a young man I loved as well. Next we have number 21, which is Uncle Buck from 1989. You should see the toast. I couldn't get it through the door. Let's see, we have at number 20, The Burbs. There go the GD Brownies. Ah, man, that was from 1989. Pee-wee's Big Adventures, number 19. That comes from 1985. I was a big Pee-wee Herman fan when I was a kid. Watching Pee-wee Herman now, I can't believe any parents let us do it because he is extremely obnoxious and loud. The only thing I can think of is homes were big enough or the TVs were far enough away to where the kids were off watching it and the parents were somewhere else where they couldn't hear it, because I think that would be a difficult sounds in the background as a parent. That would be very difficult to hear. Just all the screaming, the word of the day. Yikes. I mean, I know that's the show, but anyway, the movie, very good. Love it. And that's directed by Tim Burton. Next we have, in 1985, we're at number 18 here, and that is The Breakfast Club. So this is where the term Brat Pack usually gets placed, but again, it started with St. Elmo's Fire. But the Brat Pack, The Breakfast Club was one that my mom showed me when I was a young kid. All those actors are her age, so like she really identified with this movie. The differences, that I think they were a little older, playing down a little bit, but she just really related to a lot of these characters in that movie. Okay, so that was 18, Breakfast Club. Now we're at 17, Major League. You trying to tell me Jesus Christ can't hit a curveball? Major League came out in 1989. Number 16, The Land Before Time, The Great Valley. Sarah is so mean and annoying, but I still quote this movie all the time. Anytime my kids are looking for something or I'm looking for something and then I find it, I always go, I found it, I found it, just like Sarah does when she thinks she finds the Great Valley. Land Before Time came out in 1988. Hey, that's a Spielberg presents. Don Bluth animation. Next we have number 15, which is Dragnet. I'm talking about satanic panic, and it's really cool to see Dragnet brought into the 80s, because Dragnet had been around forever. I mean, when was the first Dragnet episode? Who knows? I mean, was that the 50s? Maybe it was just the 60s. Maybe it was the 50s. I can't remember. But anyways, it's just really cool when they bring something from the past into the 80s or into the present time, because that really makes it that era. Like, it's almost like the movie is about the 80s. How about we set this idea, these ideas, these principles, but place them in a time they don't belong? It becomes really interesting. Similar to the Brady Bunch movie or the Beverly Hillbillies movie in the 90s. Like, those movies are really about the 90s and how times have changed. So Dragnet, love that movie. Well, no, 14. 14 also has Tom Hanks in it. Dragnet has Tom Hanks in it. But 14 does as well, and that's Splash. This might be my introduction to Tom Hanks, I'm wondering. This is where I first heard the song Wooly Bully. When, Madison Avenue in New York, when people talk about that, their mind goes to Mad Men. Mine doesn't. Mine goes to Splash. Okay, so number 13 is Spaceballs. Oh man, this one is so good. I have a very personal, loving connection to that movie. It's just, it's fantastic. Love Spaceballs, one of my favorites. E.T. is number 12. That came out in 82. Look at this. We got Spielberg here from Animaniacs sporting that E.T. hat. Sorry for the sweat lines and everything. Number 11 comes Poltergeist. This house is clean. When I say this house is clean, do you think of Poltergeist or do you think of Ace Ventura? What is it? I kind of think of both simultaneously. It's like my brain splits in half, and I got Jim Carrey over here, and I got I don't want to mess up her name over here. Tangina. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. And then number 10 is Batman 89. We got another Tim Burton one here. Just fantastic. The reimagining of Batman, the music that Danny Elfman created and then has just become synonymous with Batman. It's just sort of how we identify Batman still today with that music, which is fantastic. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Great movie. Jack Nicholson, he's more the lead, right? Because he has the full arc. We see him transform into the Joker all the way to his demise. So, in some ways, it makes sense that he would be top billed, because while he is the antagonist, in a lot of ways, he gets the full arc, where Batman is already Batman. What do you think? Co-leads is probably the best way to look at that movie. Okay, number 9. Ba ba doo da ba da doo day day. Talking about Back to the Future. Back to the Future. Like, what is that? A perfect movie, right? It's fantastic. It is fantastical, right? Because it's like fantasy, sci-fi, fantasy sort of thing, more like sci-fi, I guess. But the funness of it makes it feel a little more fantastical. I don't know. I frankly just love this movie. I bought it on VHS when I was a kid, or my dad did, from McDonald's. You can buy movies at McDonald's. Where are we at? Oh, this is interesting. Okay, Back to the Future is my number 9, right? And in that movie, Marty McFly says, can I get a tab? I can't give you a tab if you don't buy anything, or whatever. And so tab is a drink from the 80s, right? My number 8 is Scrooged. And you'll also find tab in that movie. You can probably find tab in a few of these movies, I guess, if it's, drink from the 90s. But there's a very funny scene, very funny scene in Scrooged with some tab. I love Scrooge. Fantastic Christmas movie. It's a take on A Christmas Carol, and Bill Murray is wonderful in it. Okay, 89, The Little Mermaid. Oh, my sister and I would watch this all the time. I have so many great memories of it. This is sort of the beginning, the true beginning of the Disney Renaissance, right? You could sprinkle in some earlier films. Oliver and Company was sort of having some success, and The Great Mouse Detective, and things like that. But really, when we're thinking about the heart of the Disney Renaissance, I believe we want to start it with The Little Mermaid through The Lion King, right? But Little Mermaid is the 80s film of that group. Excuse me. 88. Nope. From the year 1988, number 6 on my list is Beetlejuice. Look at this, Tim Burton just popping up everywhere, right? Beetlejuice, nice effing model. I mean, this movie, I was Beetlejuice for Halloween when I was a kid. Michael Keaton he performs it so well. I'm worried about the sequel that's happening. Probably shouldn't happen. It's not going to be good, but if it's not good, we can always forget about it, right? We can always act like it doesn't exist. But Beetlejuice is great, great movie. Number 5. We are the three amigos. Chip, 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 chip. Nanny. Farther, farther, farther. Okay. Are you the singing bush? Obviously, it's a singing bush. This movie is funny because it has fantastical elements in it. Like, the movie plays itself. I mean, it's a comedy, but it plays reality, right? Comedy in a reality. But then you have these fantastical moments with a singing bush, with an invisible horseman, and all of that is completely bizarre, with some singing animals. Boom, 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 boom. Right? My dad showed me this when I was a kid. This was one that we watched as a family all the time. Speaking of, I think my dad had a big influence on me with 80s movies. Oh my goodness, Caddyshack isn't on this list. Whew, I gotta call my dad and apologize. Okay, so we're at number 5, which was Three Amigos. Now we're moving on to number 4, which is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. When it comes to the vacation movies, like, sure, Vacation is great. That came out, I believe, the year I was born. But Christmas Vacation, which was 1989, that one's my favorite, and that's the one I watch all the time. I watch it every single year. And I think a lot of people do. It's become a tradition to watch Christmas Vacation for a lot of families, a lot of people. Very funny, a lot of great sight gags. Cousin Eddie is great. It's a very funny movie, and it gets watched at least once every year. My dad was a big Chevy Chase fan. Next we have, for number 3, we have Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which came out in '87, and this is another holiday movie. I've had some Christmas movies on here. Here we have the holiday Thanksgiving here. Kevin Bacon has a cameo in it. John Candy is just wonderful, so good. And then Steve Martin, very, very funny man there. And I just like seeing him irritated. He's really good at being irritated. That's one, my dad showed me, grew up watching, and I love it, and it gets watched almost every year as well. Next, we have number 2. We are coming close to the end. My number 2 is The Lost Boys. Now, this is one that my mom showed me. I just remember thinking that, oh my goodness, I just realized Goonies isn't on this list. Oh my goodness. Oh, oh man, I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. Well, okay, we already did have some Corey Feldman earlier, but anyway, Corey Feldman as a kid, I looked at him and I was like, this guy's the coolest guy. This is the coolest person. And The Lost Boys had a lot to do with that. Also, just the early horror that I was watching, sort of an introduction along with some other movies like, oh gosh, The Monster Squad, not on this list, But yeah, it was like easy early horror for a kid to absorb. Like when I don't know, I'm not sure how interested my kids are going to be in horror. They were when they were like really little, but now I think they've kind of maybe they've scared themselves out of it. But I feel like The Lost Boys would be a good entry for them, or maybe maybe it would be better if it was something like The Gate or The Monster Squad or something like that. But Lost Boys, fantastic. It has style, so much style to it. And I just thought Corey Feldman was the coolest guy in this. Like I remember just like wanting to be him and thinking he was amazing. And then we're at number 1. We are at number 1, and here's a little peek. The greatest 1980s movie ever made, right here, is Ghostbusters. Check it out. Those 4 right there. Plus Lewis and Janine. Well, and Sigourney Weaver, of course, too. There is no Dana, only Zool. It's an incredibly quotable movie. Very funny. This chick is toast. And I believe, I don't know if this is true, but I did hear recently that calling someone toast in the sense of like you're ending them, you are retaliating against them, comes from Ghostbusters, like that was never used before. Like Bill Murray actually coined that. That can't be true. That can't be true. But I did hear that recently. I'm not buying it. Look at that. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Right there. Love that cartoon as well. Winston and Peter, they were always my favorites. I like Slimer. I like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I love this town. It's that's a big Twinkie. My dad and I just we would always laugh at that with Egon, with and Winston. The whole Twinkie stuff was just like so good. The special effects are amazing. I know we have another Ghostbusters along the way coming here pretty soon, and I just hope it's close to being in the realm of as good as the three in this universe. It's always so risky. Like, I don't like 2 as much as 1. I don't like Afterlife as much as 1, but I think they're good enough, right? And but 1 is just something I cherish so much, and it's my 6th favorite movie of all time, and there are days when I consider moving it up, and I've had the same top 5 movies since probably like 94, 95, 96, somewhere around there. Whenever Apollo 13 came out, because Apollo 13 jumped up to number 5. But yeah, Ghostbusters is extremely funny. It has wonderful horror visuals in it. Great characters that aren't fighting for the joke, and they're just people who are naturally funny, and that's why I think that first one works so well. I really love it. So anyway, those are my top 25 movies from the 80s. We started with St. Elmo's Fire, and we ended at number 1 with Ghostbusters, the best 1980s film ever made. But yeah, I'm excited to check out everybody else's lists. I know I'm late to this. I think this has been going on for an entire month, and I really waited the last minute. But thank you so much for watching, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.